Hey, what's up? It's Comic95, the Savior, and for this video I want to talk about blackface as well as cultural appropriation, but more specifically about blackface and cultural appropriation that deals with black people and not so much dealing with Japanese people. I made an older video that I should probably update in which I talk about cultural appropriation in regards to foreigners culturally appropriating Japanese culture. And for those of you that will not check out that video, I'm actually talking about why there's no such thing as cultural appropriation with towards Japanese culture, because it's never been set up that way. But I will not get into that. For this video, I'm specifically talking about how there are issues with stereotyping black people through the use of blackface. Please keep in mind that this video is my opinion, my observations from being in Japan. For those of you that do not know me, I'm a Black American woman. I have been in Japan for some years now. I've seen a lot, both on TV, I've heard a lot both from friends, etc. So I want to get this out of the way. First and foremost, most people that have been internationalized, that have dated outside of their race, that have been to other countries such as the US, they do think that blackface is bad or wrong. Most people in Japan do not support blackface, but I will also say a lot of people don't know why they don't support it or why it's bad. People think that blackface is simply bad because they're making themselves look black. But the problem with blackface isn't that they're making themselves look black. The problem is that they're doing it in a way that is insulting and degrading towards black people, and that is very offensive. This is my opinion. So, going back to some history, obviously blackface initially started off with white people in America, possibly other European countries as well, displaying black people in a stereotypical way, such as giving them overdrawn, ridiculous lips that are disproportionate, big nose, dark skin, having them do silly, clown-like things, etc. Well, the problem is, back then, obviously, black people, everyone, does not look like or do these things, but it was made to show people this is why they're not human. It was made to dehumanize us, to make us feel bad, look bad, etc. And it spread across the world. It was an ongoing joke. You can find these things on products, you can find it on TV shows, etc. And when it was deemed as no longer being acceptable to do, it kind of took on a new role, as we now have issues with cultural appropriation. So to briefly fill you in on that, again, my personal opinion, the problem that black people have with cultural appropriation isn't a matter of wanting to control everything and say, you can't look like us, you can't do this, whatever. It's the fact that there's a double standard. It's okay for you to braid your hair. It's okay for you to do these things. It's okay for you to get lip injections. It's okay for you to get a fake ass, etc. But these things that I naturally have been demonized. I've been told, oh, this is ugly. You need to change this. You need to get a nose job. You need to, make your lips look smaller in your pictures by, wearing foundation to make them look smaller. Like all other little types of things. You need smaller hips. So many different things. And now we have, white women that come into the picture, or even Asian women who can get a fake ass, get their hips, broadened, etc. And now these things that I've been made fun of for, that I've been, made to feel like I'm not human, I'm an alien, I'm a freak, now these things are sexy. Black features are okay when they're not on black people. And then the other side of it too is that it's okay for people to like black things, to like black music, to like black slang, use these things when they want to. They can pick and choose when they want to be black, look black, whatever, but they don't really want to be us. They don't really support us. They don't really do these things when need be. So I'm not making this video to get on people about cultural appropriation. We'll talk about that later, and more so talking about Japan. So got that out of the way. My issue is I feel like a lot of people here don't understand why blackface is bad. So now that I've explained briefly, very quickly, the history with cultural appropriation, why we have issues with it, basically it's unfair. Things I've been told I should be ashamed of, it's okay if you do it. Now that you've done it, you've made it new. Now it's cool to do these things. It's cool to look this way. The other flip side of that is that, of course, by these things being changed, now I can honestly say, yeah, there's a little bit of good that's come out of it. Now I don't have to feel ashamed of my body. Now things that I used to want to change. I used to wish my lips were smaller. I used to wish I didn't have such wide hips. I wish I had a smaller butt. I remember looking in the baby section at Toys R Us and seeing a product that was made to help slim your hips after giving birth. And I honestly wanted it. And just little things like that. I remember trying to make my lips look small for photos. So things like that, I don't have to worry about anymore. Now I get compliments from white guys saying, oh my god, your lips are so sexy, please kiss me, suck my dick. All type of nasty, bogus, whatever type stuff. Mostly positive compliments, etc. But why weren't these things praised before, when these are common traits that most black women have? Black women are notorious and known for having full lips naturally, for having a, nice butt naturally. Little things like that. I've always had these things. But now that it's on a white woman, now the whole world has changed their view, because we have people like Kim Kardashian, all these Instagram models, etc. So this isn't to say that, curvy bodies are exclusive to black women, but let's be real. What is the likelihood of all of these different white women naturally being built that way? So my point is, I was playing devil's advocate. There's some positive that has come out of this, but it's insulting that it took a white person doing something for things that I have naturally to be seen as beautiful. The issue is that modern day blackface has taken on a different meaning. So I'm not going to get into cultural appropriation or blackfishing, which for those of you that don't know, that is the act of a non-black person pretending to be black by doing whatever they can to pass as black. And oftentimes they don't address concerns or questions that people ask, are you black, or assume that they are. They literally take on a new identity or even lie about what race they truly are. Then you also have the other side, so not necessarily blackfishing, but people that are using blackface. This is a situation in which someone, typically for cosplay, makeup videos, etc., they try to make themselves look like a black passing or a black person. The reason why this is problematic for most situations is that it's often used in a costume-like way. They're not making themselves legitimately look like a black person, but instead they're exaggerating, black features. They're acting in a way that is not normal for a black person, or any person for that matter. It's made for comic relief. It's made to make black people the butt of your joke, to get attention, for shock value, to make people laugh, basically. And there's no other way to put it besides it's racist and it's wrong. That is what I have an issue with. I cannot speak for every black person, and I don't want to, but I will say, while I don't think it's right, I think it's kind of weird. I have weird feelings about people that do choose to wear blackface for doing things like makeup when it's done appropriately. Now, don't get me wrong, I would definitely take a white girl that's literally just wearing darker makeup and trying to look black by throwing on a wig or whatever, over a white person that's putting on, dookie stain paint, doing a half-assed job and overdrawing their lips and putting on an afro wig and acting crazy, clearly trying to reinforce a stereotype. I don't view those two things as the same, although I do think both are wrong, weird, or whatever. But again, that's my own 2 cents. So my problem is, like I said, I feel like people here don't truly understand the issue and they don't see why it's bad. And I think the best way to put it is, if you look at how we as black people, when we cosplay, when we do other characters, when we try to look like Asian characters, etc., we have no intention in changing our complexion and changing even our hair, I would argue, like things like that, to try to make ourselves look stereotypical. And what I mean by that isn't something that Asians did not invent, which a lot of people seem to have wrong. For example, my hairstyle. Anytime somebody has bangs, especially if they're in Japan, it's like, oh, you're a weeb, you're whatever. I've had bangs for the majority of my life before I even knew where Japan was on a map. It has no influence over that, nothing to do with it. And embarrassingly, as I admitted before, I actually got bangs initially because one of my friends had bangs and she was Egyptian and I wanted to look like her. I thought her hair was cool. My mom was not okay with me cutting my hair. That's how I first got bangs. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, it's not an exclusive hairstyle to Asians, but Afro hair is not a common thing for a Japanese person to have. Even when black people do cosplay and do things like that, and they do change their hair. For example, you can say like my hairstyle, etc., which I just recently changed back to having, bangs across my forehead. When we do things like that, I do not go around mimicking or mocking Asian girls and pretending like I'm about to get raped and like I'm this weak, innocent thing and acting slutty or whatever. Like, I don't have to take on a new fake stereotypical persona. When I see black guys dress up as cosplay characters, etc., or wear a ninja costume, I don't see them walking around like weak feminine men or, you know, being the stereotype for Asian men. I don't understand why it's so hard to ask for the same thing in reverse. There have been situations here where you will literally see Japanese people on the street walking around and like doing modern day blackface where they're mocking black people. They're behaving stereotypically in a way in which it portrays all black people look this way, all black people are loud, all black people are ghetto, etc. And they just don't get it. Two of the most common cosplays I see Japanese people do is Michael Jackson, of course, and Eddie Murphy. And I find it so funny that they find nothing wrong with this, but these same people cry wolf when Naomi Osaka, who is also Japanese too, which I find really stupid, shares a meme that has nothing to do with race. They can nitpick that apart and find a reason to cry and complain about it. But these same people cannot understand why you, as an actual individual and not an internet meme, should not be walking around and wearing Nutella on you and pretending to be a black person by portraying a stereotypical, insulting personality. And again, I'm not speaking on behalf of all black people, but I feel like the part that makes me angriest about this isn't just a matter of somebody that's not black pretending to be black, but it's the fact that they're doing it in a way that is clearly intended to be insulting, degrading, demeaning, and stereotypical of you. Not stereotypical of, like, in a sense where they're wearing curly hair. Fine, I have straight hair right now. This is not my natural hair texture. I have 3B3C hair. Cool. That's not my issue. My issue is, why do you not only have to, you know, paint yourself this unnatural, like, they don't even use like normal makeup. They'll use something that's like completely horrible, like smear themselves with paint is what they essentially do. Do a patchy job. Find the most ridiculous, most horrible way to wear, you know, overdrawn lips. Find the most ridiculous, horrible way to wear their hair. They're not trying to look like a nice and polished black person. Their goal is to look like a stereotype. Their goal is to look like every negative image you have of a black person, that's what they want to portray. So when people try to make that same argument, like, oh, like, well, black people wear cosplay, black people dress as this character. When we do that, we are not doing it in a way in which we are insulting, degrading, and making Asians look bad. I've never seen a black guy go out on the street dressed as like any Asian person you could think of. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to give somebody Chinese, Jackie Chan, for example. And he goes outside, and instead of acting like how Jackie Chan really does, you have to go around acting like you're weak, acting like you're, you know, feminine, like you're a girl, you know, whatever the case might be. Do you not see how that would be problematic to Asian people? But these same people act totally different when they get their, you know, costume on, their blackface. To my knowledge, Michael Jackson was not loud, ghetto, obnoxious, and didn't have really huge, overdrawn lips, or any of the crazy stuff. And then I hate to even say this, but let's be real, most of what we saw of Michael Jackson was after he did bleach his skin, which to me is like, this just proves the point that you have no intention in looking like the character. Because to be totally honest, at this point, you didn't need to even change your complexion. Your goal was to be funny. Your goal was to be insulting. You do not look more like the character when you change your complexion. I'm sorry, just being real. This is coming from someone that cosplays themselves. When I did my cosplay for Diva, who's supposed to be Korean, I did not go to the store and buy some yellow body paint and stretch my eyelids to show you that I'm trying to be Asian. No. My costume, my wig, my makeup, my shoes, my little gun, it was all you needed to see. Oh, she's doing a Diva cosplay. Why can't you do the same thing? Is it too much to ask? But there is no excuse for blackface. Skin complexions are not costumes. They're not a part of it. If you want to look more like a character, for your cosplay, then choose to do something that's not a real race. You can be Mystique. You can be the Hulk. You can do whatever you want with your skin complexion then. You can make yourself green, purple, red, whatever. If we can dress like your characters that are clearly meant to be Asian, and we can showcase that we're trying to look like Hinata, or we're trying to look like, you know, whatever character, by simply wearing a wig, changing our hair texture. Why do you have to take something not only as sensitive as a skin complexion, because fine, you can argue with that, well, why is it okay for, you know, black people to do whatever? Why do you have to not only change your complexion, but you do it in a way in which you have no intention in making your complexion look nice? You have no intention in making your skin legitimately look like a black person's. Your goal is to make yourself look dirty, to make yourself look funny. And you even take on a new persona with it, in a stereotypical way. I can't even fathom a black guy dressed like Rock Lee. And instead of acting like Rock Lee and being the super hyper, you know, whatever type person, instead becoming a stereotypical nerdy Asian guy with glasses that's weak, scrawny, and feminine. You would be having a fit over it. And it really just aggravates me so much, because my problem is, I feel like even for the people that do think it's bad, they don't understand why it's wrong here. They don't get it. They just think, oh, I shouldn't do this around my foreign friends because they get angry over it. And this is off subject, but it kind of reminds me of the whole whaling situation. I'm not going to get into my opinions on that. I honestly see, I mean, food is food. I don't think that the whales are being killed in a humane way is my issue. But you could say the same thing about farm animals in the US. So that's a different topic. But what I'm getting at is, I feel like that's basically how this goes. A lot of Japanese people don't really have an issue with it. To them, it's just, oh, let me pretend like I'm not okay with it because I saw in the news that this makes foreigners angry. So I'm going to pretend like I'm anti-whale, anti-horse. And I feel like, well, blackface is the same thing. A lot of people, they don't see it as being a really big issue. They're like, oh, it's just a costume, it's just cosplay. And it's because they cannot relate to it. They don't know the history of it, the roots of it. They don't understand the struggle. They don't understand the fact that a lot of their favorite artists that they love so much, the music that they listen to, etc., these things were not cool. It was not cool to look this way. It was not cool to have this body, to like these things, until a white person did it. Then it became cool and popular. They don't understand the history behind our hairstyles, the reason why these topics are sensitive, why it's not okay to, you know, wear a hairstyle, not just a hairstyle that black people invented, but to do it in a mocking way. And this is off subject, but this is really why I didn't think about this until I became an adult, but I'm pretty sure like the founding of clowns is rooted in racism, in my opinion, too. Why is it that clowns always have 4-type hair? Why can't you use regular, like, spiky, rock star white guy hair? Why is it clown hair? Why does clown hair have to be afro hair? Why a big red nose? Like, just the weird, why big overdrawn lips? I swear that has to be, you know, rooted in that. And I'm pretty sure if I bothered to do some research, I would find that. So, and I might do that. But you get my point. I feel like this is something that people just cannot wrap their minds around, cannot understand here. You can wear a costume, you can dress like Lifeline, you can be black characters. I am not upset over an Asian or a white or a Hispanic person wearing a costume that is, you know, supposed to be a black character. But you do not have to change your complexion, and you most certainly do not have to act like a stereotypical black person in order to show us who you're supposed to be. Your clothes are all you need, I promise you. Clothes and makeup. And when I say makeup, I don't mean your skin complexion. I have differing opinions from other black people. But I think this is like the one thing we can all agree on. We don't care about you wearing our costumes. We care about how you make us look, how you represent us. Michael Jackson didn't act that way. You don't need to act that way to show us that you're Michael Jackson. Sing his songs, say he. You don't have to talk ghetto. I really wish that Japanese people would put in as much effort as they do to look like a black person when they intentionally do these blackface things. I wish they put in as much effort into learning about Black history, into learning about the struggles and challenges that Black people face and or have. Because it seems like you have no interest in anything that goes on with Black people until you have the opportunity to make them the butt of your joke. But these same people are super analytical, super judgmental over anything that the US or other Black people or any other country does towards them, anything that could potentially be racist. They would have a heart attack if Black people went around in Japan painting themselves yellow, stretching out their eyes to show you, I'm Japanese, I'm a ninja. Just imagine that. Think about that for a second. If you recognize that that's racist, which they do, if you find that to be insulting, how do you think we feel when you do that? I don't understand why this is even a conversation that has to be had. I don't get it. So, again, most people are not for it, but I feel like even for those people, it just seems like, oh, Black people, they're so sensitive. Everything hurts their feelings. Grow some thicker skin. It's like it's easy to say when you're the majority. It's easy to say when your ancestors, your parents, your culture has not been the butt of these jokes, has not had to deal with bullying, harassment, discrimination, people believing things about you without having even met you based on these images and on these things. It's easy for you to say because you cannot relate. And because you cannot, listen, learn, get educated from those who can. You would not want to be treated that way. You would not want to be looked at that way. Your feelings would be hurt if you were portrayed that way. It doesn't matter if you mean it to be racist. It is racist. That's one of the dumbest arguments I keep hearing. Oh, I'm not a racist. I don't mean to be racist. I don't mean. Meaning something doesn't mean that it's not. I don't have to mean to shoot you. Are you not shot? Are you still bleeding? Are you not possibly going to die? Does that mean you don't need a doctor because it was an accident? What? I don't have to mean to insult you to offend you or make you cry. It's the same concept. Why purposefully do something that's controversial? Why purposefully do something that could be taken as offensive, that could be seen as racist? Why? There's literally no reason. There's also so many other characters that you can choose to be. If you really want to, paint your body so bad, why not paint yourself as a geisha? Why not dress like whatever character you want to be from your country, from your culture? Go ahead, by all means. Why do you have to go to mines? Why? I know why. Because you want to be funny. Your goal is not to portray my people, my character, our artists in good light. You're not trying to really look like these characters. You want to be funny. And that's the problem with Blackface to begin with. It's rooted in stereotypes that are made to be funny, to dehumanize Black people. That's the whole goal of it. You had no intention in looking or talking or acting like Eddie Murphy. You had no intention in looking or talking or acting like Michael Jackson. There's other characters too. And it's really interesting how they notice every little detail when they want to pretend to be a Black person. But for some reason, you can't seem to draw your own selves in manga. You can't create your own characters. Anytime you draw or portray your characters, it's everything that you wish you had on yourself. You show yourself with tiny lips, little noses, big eyes, light colored hair, etc. When you draw people that look like you, they have similar features to what you normally look like after surgery. Sure, they might have dark eyes, but they're huge. Sure, they might have dark hair, but it's nice, full, thick, wavy, whatever the case might be. Something that's not you. But give you the chance to draw a Black person. Let's find the most stereotypical, worst, scariest, most dangerous looking way that we can, portray that. Let's look at old, back in the day, mammy drawings to draw you. Why is that? If you really love and respect Black people, if you really love and respect the person, the character, the drawing, the whatever you're trying to cosplay as, you would listen to them, hear what they have to say, try to understand them, and realize, hey, maybe this isn't funny. Hey, maybe I shouldn't look this way. maybe I can portray that character in a different way. If you really did care about it, really did love this like how you claim to, listen to what people have already said and put out there. There's no excuse for blackface. It's 2020. We're in the 21st century. People understand the internet. There's YouTube, there's Google, we have forums. Japanese people arguably watch, listen, and read more American stuff than I feel like we do as Americans. Most people have no loyalty to artists. They have no train of mind or thoughts for themselves. They do whatever everyone else does. And I'm not saying that to make it a stereotype or whatever type thing, but no, it's true. And what I'm getting at is, since that's what you do you know what normally tops the billboards? Black people music. Hip hop, R&B. Almost always in the number 1, number 2, number 3 spot. They watch our movies. They listen to our music. They watch our music videos. They watch our YouTube channels. Their biggest celebrities look like us. There's no excuse for you to say, oh, I didn't know. Oh, I didn't understand. Anytime something deals with you or your race, you do whatever you can to look it up and see what people are saying, see how they feel, see what they're thinking. But if it doesn't involve you, oh well, get over it. Don't be sensitive. I cannot stand that mindset. You treat minorities badly. You insult them, degrade them, etc. You say they need to get over it. You call them sensitive. You say, oh, you all think everything's racist. Everything's bad. You're always playing the race card. But maybe you're just ignorant. You don't want to learn. You don't want to grow. You don't want to listen. And this isn't a Japan-specific thing. White people have a much bigger problem with this in the US and in Europe. But I'm speaking for Japan because that's where I currently live. And for the people, because I know that any video that deals with, race, watch. Look at my comments. White people that are racist, emphasis on those that are racist. I know not all white people are bad. They are drawn to videos on racism, which is really funny because they like to remind black people that they're a stereotype by being dangerous, violent, whatever. But it's like, if the stereotype is that we're violent, then I guess the stereotype that you're racist is true, because I've never seen a video in which black people like swarm to, like how you guys like to swarm to videos of racism. Like, if you think we're pulling a race card, why are you so drawn to videos that talk about race? Clearly you must see some truth in this. So whatever. And this doesn't involve you all this time. I'm talking to Japanese people. So, and again, for those of you that are like, oh, go back to your home country, whatever, that is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Because the reality is, change happens by people being bold, standing up and fighting for what they believe in, fighting for their rights, for what they want. Not all black people come from other countries either. There are plenty of black people that were born and are raised here. There are mixed race people here, etc. They have no home country to go back to. This is their home country. So you saying that to me is like saying that to them. And while no country is perfect, I feel like this is something that people here really just can't wrap their minds around. And I feel like that should really help them right there. You don't have to change your skin complexion to portray a character. And you don't have to change your personality either. And the way that it's being done, it's literally like a copy and paste cookie cutter type thing. Michael Jackson does not act or look anything like Eddie Murphy. Neither does The Rock. Neither does Kevin Hart. There's no reason why you should be acting, walking, talking, dressing like Nicki Minaj if you're trying to portray Halle Berry or trying to portray any other black woman. Sky Jackson, for example. There is nothing that Sky Jackson has in common with Nicki Minaj other than the fact that they're black. If you cannot dress up like her without your inner mammy coming out, that is literally proof that your whole goal in this was to be offensive and racist. You wanted to make people laugh. I also find it interesting that whenever you see Japanese people try to dress and portray white people, what do you know? Conveniently, they don't have this fake personality in which they act like, oh my god, I'm a valley girl. They don't do any of that. They act totally normal. I don't see them put on white paint to be Elsa. I don't see them run around, act racist, wave a gun in their hand. Nope. Interesting. So you know how to properly portray being a white character. You understand that you don't have to change this about yourself. You understand you don't need to take a bucket of mayonnaise and rub it all over yourself just like how you take Nutella to portray a black person. But for some reason, you don't see how you could possibly show that you're that black guy from that anime. You don't know how you can do that. How will anyone ever know if I'm Michael Jackson if I don't run around with a gun in my hand and a cigarette and Nutella smears? You don't even try to make your makeup like painted evenly. You make it patchy, you overdraw your features, everything is made to be insulting. I cannot understand it. Just like, it drives me so crazy. So whatever, that's that. I just have to get that rant out of the way, but I really wish like there was more educating on why it's wrong and not just, oh, blackface is bad because you're trying to look like me. I do not look like that. You're insulting me. You're bullying me. You're teasing and mocking me. That is the problem. I cannot speak for all black people, but I have no problem if you like black music. I have no problem if you like to wear black clothing. If you think our hairstyles are cool. I'm actually kind of honored. I'm glad you enjoy and like our culture. What I don't like is seeing it misrepresented. I don't like seeing people mock it, make fun of it, tease people for it. Use black people as the butt of your joke. That's not cool with me. And it never will be. So that's that. Thank you so much for watching, listening to my rant. If you have anything you would like to add to the conversation, please leave it down below. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. What have you seen on TV here? Have you had any interactions where you went to an event like how I have and came across Japanese people that are dressed in blackface or that are pretending to be a stereotypical black character? Please share them down below. Other than that, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel after you've liked and commented. And also, I have an Instagram and Twitter account that you can follow, and I have a Snapchat you can add me on, and please like my Facebook page as well. The links for everything are down in the description, and I hope you will watch another video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.